Let's load it up here. I don't think I fucked anything up last week. All right. Well, let's let everything load up there. We are going to have the AF broadcast in a little bit. We've got quite a decent grid signed up, obviously, for both events. We'll see who actually shows up. We do have drops currently being counted for in the scroll bar you see up top. Get it at perfect timing. You can see from the beginning, Go Bryant with 40 points after the drops, followed by Justin and Killamilla, very close in the rookie uh, event. In the rookie amateur event, we see T. Sydney starting to walk a little bit, but not too far away from Orieg and Moss 99, 39 and 38 points respectively. Oop, announcer bot yelling at me already. We're going to shut him off. Well, we let the rest of that go. Missed a little bit, but it looks like Ricky Richmond, Elvis, and Max Yang to top off the pro class in the rookie event. Over in the pro event, the one we'll be watching today, we've got Sam GT3 leading the rookies with 45, the Inferno with 37, and Big Dean Energy with 35. In the amateur class, we've got Brian number 7 with 40, followed by Seb Bellew and Botlando, tied at 37 points. And then in the pro class, we've got Elias Flynn topping things off with 44 points, followed by Mogul with 36, and then Nick Cruz and IMJ tied at 35. We've got a 45-minute race for you today. They are going to need a pit stop to kick things off. And I know we just turned off the announcer bot, but I'm going to turn things over to him for just a moment, and I'll be right back. I got to tweak one or two things before the event begins. But we'll be right back. All right, we are back. I'm going to save you from this riveting announcer bot who is going to put me out of my job any day now. But till then, yeah, I bet he is. Let's take a peek at things along the grid. So we've actually got 10 racers who have joined. Just a few guys haven't left the pits yet, but things starting to fill up. 4 racers over in the rookie event. So hopefully we'll see them fill up as well. See some sharings of setups going on. So everybody's starting to work together as we join in with Bot Lando here in the number 4 MX5. So Lando's having a pretty good season, tied there for second place in the amateur class, striking distance to Brian number 7 in front. Needs a big race today, but so does Seb Bellew and Brian number 7. Don't forget, we did have a few new joiners last week, so hoping to see Tommy Boy and some of these other guys on the grid. My MX5 farewell race tonight. It's going to be Patchy's last one before the shift in work schedule causes for a little bit of a departure from the grid. Always disappointing, but work comes first, so I get it. Happens to the best of us. Happy we'll still see you in the GT3 end of things, and season's getting close to the end, so you'll be back in your Porsche in no time. Save it, save it, save it, save it. We're going to count that as a somewhat delicate save, as Palendo sure is sending it through Road Atlanta here. A little side-by-side action as Josh Fulton exits the pits alongside Seb Bellew, but we'll tune in with Seb on a bit of a hot lap testing the limits. Yeah, Patch, I figured you would be excited about the end of that season there. Slowly getting there. And I'm used to us going into a left-hander there, but this is the short course, turn 5. So that lets us stretch into the main straightaway here and into these final parts of Road Atlanta that most of you guys know and love. A lot of the guys on the grid haven't done too many practice laps, with the exception of Elias Flynn sitting with 51 on the board. He has a current personal best of a 105.7, so that's the time to beat out of everybody on the grid so far. We've got a 105.8 from Noah F. over in the rookie side of things. Noah currently finds themselves in the pro class, looking for a way to bounce up to the lead from behind. Although with a time like that, maybe we should consider having Noah up in the pro event. Starting out with a strong performance. These shorter tracks, though, it's hard for the grid to really separate in times. We'll see as people start to get the layout dialed in where things fall. Rev now slowly flying past. I want to say, yep, Sunday driver in the Intel Racer. Got to get familiar with the grid once more as we see the number 43 car, Woohoo Man, going for a nice little drift in the background of Dance. And Dancy pulls off to the side. So a lot of misfortune in these early on laps. Elias Flynn looking to head out for their first clean lap. Doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be the hot lap. Taking a look at the wind, there's not really too much to help them. In fact, this is a little bit more of a headwind than anything else at that 16 kilometers an hour. And for those of you who can see the arrow, it's in relation to your track map down on the bottom right corner of the screen. So you can get a sense for where these guys are going to get any assistance, but it won't be much. Elias Flynn ripping through turn 1's got a 107, takes it wide out, going to lose the lap early on. Josh Fulton will follow him off the mark there as Articulate Fox with a 105.8 during the practice sessions. Actually the 105.8 comes now. So that is quite impressive. It was actually a 105.3 in the offline practice. They just did theirs in the rookie server, so I didn't catch it early on. Sneaky from Articulate Fox there. A little different today. 30-minute practice, 30-minute qual. These guys will have some time to get things underway. I'm going to try and keep things simple since I don't have a co-host, and I'm going to jump into just any of the Discord channels to grab some guys for interviews. Make it a little bit easier. So let's do that now. And we'll start things off with one of the defending guys. Let's see who we got here. Why not Sam S? And we'll move him over to the Hangout group. Sam, you've been acquired. Sam, you there? Might have been a little premature. Sam might still be settling in. We'll send him back over to the main race area. Gonna be the amateur event. and we will try and grab onto somebody else if we can. Maybe we'll join on with Woohoo Man. Woohoo, you there?
Yes.
All right, grabbed you mid lap here. You got a turn signal on. Oh, nope, that's going to be your hazards as you
Yeah, I
send
figured
things a
I'd
little bit
bind those
wide.
so that people, when I do stuff like that, people know I'm coming.
Understandable. You got Botlando, a fellow drifter on this Road Atlanta course tonight, passing you now. So, how are you feeling here heading into week 5, week 6? What are we at, week 5?
I lost track of the week, honestly. I'm feeling, all right. I'm never really great in these long races. Sometimes I can hold it together,
Uh-huh.
but I've been getting in a little extra practice for this one, so I'm feeling hopeful.
Very nice. So just to give you some reference to where you're at in the standings, Brian number 7 is walking away pretty far with 40 points. 7 Botlando tied at 37. Those three have a pretty tight battle going on up top. But then where it gets interesting, P4 only has 31 points. P5 has 30. You and Patchy are tied for P6 with 28. And Sunday Driver has 27. Marty McBriar has 24. So that is a very tight stretch going on from P4 all the way down to the end of the class. How
Yeah.
do you like your odds?
Um, I think I'm doing pretty well. I think I really like my odds because lately, I mean, it feels like I've been improving rapidly. Sometimes I just have off weeks, but like I keep finding myself at like sometimes near the front of the field. I'm like, how did I get here? What did I do? Must have done something right today. All right.
It certainly seems like you're getting your groove back, and we've been happy to watch it here week after week. Is there anything you're looking forward to as we near the end of the season, or you're just hoping for strong performances no matter the track?
Well, definitely hoping for strong performances, but I'm kind of looking forward to Martinsville, considering how one of the oval races we did on an open week went for me. I was like, ooh, if this is how it goes for me on an off week, I want to see how it goes on an on week.
Yeah, we're definitely excited for that up here in the broadcast booth. I want to say that is the next season event that we're going to have, so definitely will be a big change of pace from the 45-minute one that we're going through. But you got 17 minutes left to practice. I'll let you get a few more in as there's one or two guys in your class ahead of you who are within striking distance, so we'll let you catch them.
All right, thank you so much, Buggy.
Good luck today. Let's see. I see Brett Anderson there. He is in the rookie class, but we'll let him focus up. I don't want to steal Josh Fulton because he is currently doing a little bit of a live stream of his own. Let's see what Botlando's up to. Botlando, you there?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
Good.
Another week here. We're heading into week 5. You've got a pretty tight battle going on between yourself, Seb Bellew, and Brian number 7 for the amateur title. How are you feeling about your odds heading into this week?
I'm hopeful. The start of the season was not the best, let's call it that. But the last couple of races, I've managed to bag good results. So hopefully I can get another one for this long race.
Yeah, I mean, we're rooting for you up here in the broadcast booth. We've seen a little bit of Tokyo drifting going on, but it seems like you're settling into your groove now. Is
I'm
there
learning the track. This is yeah, didn't practice, so trying to learn it now.
learning it on the fly? Well, you do have a 45-minute race today. Are you starting to think about your pit strategy at all? Thinking about who you might try and follow and head into the pits with?
Um, Not really. Every time I try to do something fancy, it usually doesn't work out. So lately, my plan's always been just fill the tank and just go with that. Whenever it goes empty, I just spit.
I can't say I blame you. I've been there myself. You start to overthink it and you lose all the strategy in the moment. So
Yeah.
fair enough. You got to see how it goes. Well, I mean, you're definitely powering through some big laps here. It looks like Seb Bellew, the only less than half a second ahead of you. I'm going to let you get to it, as these are precious practice moments here to catch up, and I'll let you defend that pack behind. But Lando, good luck today. We're hoping to see a good race.
Thank you. Try my best.
All right, so we've heard from a few different guys here in the amateur class. Let's see if we can get looks like the Inferno is having trouble getting all joined in. Hopefully someone will get them sorted in a moment or two here. We will try and pull in. Everyone I look at is in the amateur class. Man, they are really showing out here. Let's grab our newcomer and harass him a little bit. Tommy boy, welcome to the broadcast booth. Oh, looks like I freaked you out a little. Oh, God. I think we killed Tommy. You lose your microphone. You want me to put you back in the other room?
Okay. So you're not doing the whole broadcast thing this time.
We are broadcasting. Yeah. No,
I just
pulled
but you weren't doing the listening only thing. That's what was screwing me up.
Yeah, no. I decided to make it easy on you guys. But
thank God, because I'm in VR right now.
Oh God, yeah. No, you were all set. You were good to just start talking. But anyways, welcome to the broadcast. You can head back out on the track. We were trying to get some interviews in action here, but Tommy boy, our newcomer, after 1 week, you find yourself in a three-way battle for P6. Obviously, coming up the rear, it's going to be hard to climb up, but you know, you're putting up some good times. I see you dabbled in the practice server. Is that correct for this one, or no? Not yet.
Not this one. No, this is especially in VR. This is uncharted for my.
Uncharted territory. Very nice, especially on a track that you're familiar with the long layout. I'm sure of more than the short.
Yes.
I'm sure it's breaking your brain a little bit to not make that left there.
Yes, it's tickling it to a certain degree.
Well,
and right now I'm just trying to get used to the visuals of being in VR on this track again.
Understandable. So you find yourself in an interesting position. Not too much to gain, not too much to lose at this point in the season. Do you have any strategies going into a race like this? Do you have any anything you're trying to do to maybe shake things up in the standings just for the sake of it?
You know, I'll quote the crew of Jackass. It's like, I know my fortune. My fortune's to party. So I'm here to have a good time and throw some battles with people and maybe throw a couple of elbows here and there.
I like it. I like it. That's a great strategy. A track like this with all these windy bends, you're definitely going to get a chance to stick those elbows out. So we'll be looking forward to it. Your main points competitors for tonight, Boat and Wibba, have not arrived on the track yet, so you're at least in good shape there, but the rest of your class is filtering in, so
all right.
Don't get too relaxed. But we'll let you head on back. 11 minutes left of practice. Good luck today, Tom.
I appreciate it, man.
Things looking better and better. We do have a few more guys slowly making their way onto the grid. Looks like the Inferno has found his way. Let's talk to the man who likes to talk a little bit of shit, El Garito the Great. The man from across the pond. Ash, how you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's up?
Not too much, not too much. I see you're out and about getting some laps in, already into the 105s. While Parmesan, the man, the myth, the legend, up in the 104s. How you feeling about this track today?
It's a fun track. It's good for racing.
It's got at least a little bit more interest to it than some of those ovals you've been through lately.
A whole lot more.
Well, speaking of ovals, I know the focus is obviously on tonight's track, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Martinsville next week. Going to be a short oval event, or not next week, but for the next season event. Are you looking forward to it? You thinking about taking it as a drop? Where's your heart lie currently?
I mean, we saw it last week how it dominated them, you know. So I'll be there. That's for sure.
That's excellent. We like to hear it. Do you have any strategy going into today's race? I do see you have some companionship in Elias Flynn. You guys aren't in the same class, so you could work together without losing any points. Is there maybe going to be a little camaraderie there, or every man for himself up at the top of the grid?
I don't know. We'll have to see. We probably can't get close enough to Jesus to work against him like we did at Slovakia.
It's certainly going to be a tough one, but we have faith in you. See it going up on your delta here and there, even with the broadcast chirping in your ear. So I don't want to distract you too much, as you do seem to have some pretty good odds going into the evening, but we'll wish you some luck. You're currently tied with Parmesan in that hunt for Articulate Fox, so hopefully today you can pull out something and come out on top.
Thank you. I'll try my best.
Good luck. All right, that was Oscarito there. So that's from the expert class. We got a man from the pro class and from the amateur class. Let's try one more time here and see if we can get the leader of the rookie class, see what kind of pressure he's got going on. Sam, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, there you go, in the number 63 car. How you doing today?
Pretty good.
You're currently defending a pretty nice lead. Oh, as you Tokyo drift there and Beyblade across turn 12. But you're defending a pretty good lead here in the rookie class. It looks like you've got the Inferno and Big Dean Energy trying to hunt you down. How you feeling about your spot tonight on the grid?
Not great. Haven't had a lot of time to practice, but I do like Road Atlanta. Spent a lot of time here doing the full course, so just got to figure out that little shortcut part in the middle.
Yeah, there's definitely a new line to learn for a lot of guys who have been with us for a while. As I don't think we've really done the short course, but certainly done a few laps of that longer version.
Yeah, I don't mind the short course, but my favorite turn is that left that like straight through the cones before you hit the shortcut on the short course.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That uphill left. That's the best turn on Road Atlanta, and it cuts it off right before that. So kind of mad about that, but
I respect
I
it.
hate this course. I'm excited about the race. Wish I had had more time to practice this week.
We got a lot of time left in the season and a nice little cushion if things go south here today.
Yeah.
We got a few more weeks left. Is there any special strategy going into your pits today, or just gonna see where the wind takes you?
Yeah, I'm kind of just gonna send it. I haven't even figured out the pit entrance yet. I should probably do that on this lap. But yeah, no pit strategy. Just gonna kind of do a full tank and then go for it.
All right. Well, you certainly respect that here at the broadcast booth. I see you're working your way through a little bit of traffic as you try and get some extra laps here in at the last few minutes. So I'll pop you back over to the main chat to help you communicate. But good luck today and have fun defending that lead.
All right, appreciate it, Buggy.
And that was Sam GT3, or Sam S as he's going by in the season today, currently leading the rookie class in that 63 car. I think leading them on the current grid as well. So certainly a big help. Got 19 racers currently loaded in here for the pro event. 9 racers over in the rookie end of things, as we will have that broadcast live, I believe, momentarily. Sam really has been putting on a pretty good show today. I know we haven't really interviewed everybody at the moment, but at least got a good sense of how things are shaking up on the grid. You can see over at the timings board, we've got from 104s down to 108, so a bigger spread than we typically see. here in the pro class. A lot more corners, places to gain and lose some time, despite the short nature of this course. So finally starting to see where that skill level comes into play just a little bit. Some overlap for sure here. Noah F. and Ricky Richmond in the rookie race, doing a good job of keeping up with the pace over here in the pro end of things. While we find a few of our guys trying to catch up with only 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in practice. So good little chunk. Now we will have some exciting new overlay and logo stuff going on the main broadcast. You've seen teases of it with some of the AI streams and broadcasts going on over the past few days. I've just been away for the last week, so I haven't had a chance really to install and set everything up. But big shout out to Camera Designs in advance. Excited for you guys to see what's coming for that nature. Has some changes to the channel as well. Keep things a little bit interesting. Speaking of interesting, we're latched on with the man from across the pond, Patchy, dabbling with his Delta through turn 10B, which I think it's really only like turn 7 or 8 with the short course, but going to shave off a decent chunk of time here. Should at least take the spot away from Woohoo Man, might take it from Rev. Needs to find actually quite a bit more to get that one away from Rev. Jump over now to Nick Cruz in the number 5 MX5, trying to rip their way into a clean lap here. Starting a little bit on the back foot, but nothing that we would typically say is worth being concerned of. As you can hear them keeping that in a very high 4th gear. Up the hill. Excuse me, just getting a little tired here. But we powered through for the broadcast crew. So we're going to open up the broadcast to the regular way we do it. I'll let the announcer well, actually, I don't want to do that. He bothers us. Bothers me, at least. Let me, this. 5 season, 6 week. 6 week 5, 7. Look at that catchy music. Alrighty. Felt like that was the best way to handle it in case Mo or Base Canada do end up joining us. We've got that all set up now. 10 racers officially loaded in and on the grid in the rookie event, so nothing too shabby as we see some strong numbers in the pro class as well. Very excited to see who manages to make it through to the end. 45-minute races. There's usually a little bit of mishaps. We tend to lose some racers along the way, but we'll see what happens. Big Dean Energy, the man from up north, currently a second off of their time, so not going to see an improvement here on this lap, but still has the means for a little bit more in the tank. We do see Seb Bellew trying to chase them down. That camel car and the Scrub Daddy race. Oh, isn't that perfect timing? Get a little bit confusing sometimes, but Rev 174 heading through the final chicane, working their way through a hot lap, trying to take away a couple positions here. Could actually jump all the way to P7, maybe even P6 if they play their card right. Wow, one hell of a lap, only 6 thousandths away from that number 5 car as they join into the 105s, which is pretty much the club everybody is trying to be in at this point. We do officially have overtime underway, so the Inferno is going to be our last racer to get an official clean lap in. A few guys will take advantage of overtime and find a few moments here or there. So the Inferno seems to have made up for a little bit of a mistake here in the early moments of the lap, so that at least puts them into the 107s. Josh Fulton, I think, trying to find the same luck somewhere else on the grid. Trying to find it. Looks like Josh is actually going to be in the pits currently, so the Inferno has a chance for some big improvements here if they can keep it clean. Going to shave a second off, so it won't be enough to take P17 without a big final corner here. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Doesn't find any more additional time, so it creeps into the 107.2s, which puts them in a pretty decent spot, but definitely is going to need to find a little bit more in the final moments to take full advantage of the qualifying situation here. Tune in with Mr. Tokyo Drift himself, Lando, trying to find a little improvement at the end. Not able to. But that gap between themselves, Seb Bellew and Brian number 7, has been closed to within 0.2. All those guys sticking very close together, with Brian number 7 now sitting in front as opposed to the man from across the pond. So Seb and Lando on at this point in the season really need to work together to just keep Brian out of P1. That way they can battle it out in the end and have one clean race. But I'm not sure how much back alley deals are really going on this season. It seems like everybody's just kind of focusing on what they can do with the cards dealt to them, which is obviously a very respectful approach to the season at hand. Sometimes you got to get a little creative. This is where you need to have a team principal at your disposal there, you know. Make the hard calls. You can't yourself. Definitely going to have to get teams implemented in for season 6 a little bit better. I think that would add to the excitement of the grid. If maybe we can make it so teams get randomized amongst classes, or some way to make it so that experts end up with rookies and things like that. It'll be pretty interesting. Alright, I'm back, and it seems like just in time for the beginning of this 30-minute qualifying event. We've got 19 racers here on our grid, all loaded up and ready to go. AutoCam kind of kicking things off for us, so let it bounce around, see if it settles in on anything interesting as we're in the early moments here of the event. Doesn't quite look like the weather changed too much here. Looks like we're still looking at... it's going to be 15 minutes of heavy clouds, followed by some light clouds, so that's where that ambient temperature change is going to come into play. As the track continues to get a little bit hotter and hotter, some bump drafting going on there between Sunday Driver and Parmesan. As everybody heads out, it seems Parmesan is going to be the first one on a hot lap attempt, so we'll try and stick with them a little bit. see what they've got going on. Whipping through with some speed through 10A into 10B. I think we're just going to call that the chicane. Potatoes for Life is over in the rookie event. That broadcast is going to start in just a little bit. You'll be seeing that in the bottom right corner of your screen here, but you'll also see that there'll be another link posted if you're in the Discord. If not, we'll try and get that one out to everybody in chat. We do have 2 separate events today just because we got quite a big grid. Unfortunately, not able to fit everybody in the broadcast cams all on the track. Although with the attendance today, we could have, but unfortunately, it's a little hard to get all the moving parts set up that way. So we're hanging on with Parmesan here, looking to set their first clean lap, already with a 105.5 and cruising on the Delta. Going to be in the 104s by the looks of things after only their first or second clean lap. I think second, and that'll be a 104.8 to kick things off. That is one hell of a way to get things started, I'll say that much. As we look around the grid here, we'll jump now to the Long John Silver Racer of Sunday Driver. That red from the roll bar pops in and out depending on how far away we are, unfortunately. That's going to be a little bit, ooh, a nice little avoidance there from Sunday Driver, and then a quick teleport to pits. Manages to avoid a little excess chaos as we tune in with Josh Fulton getting ready to come down the final straightaway. Looking for a small bit of improvement on this lap, but we'll be heading out for a clean one here. Has a little bit of pressure from DNC behind, but maybe that'll be encouragement more than anything else. As the number 23 car takes a big dive into turn 1, carries a lot of speed up that hill, and lines himself up pretty well for turns 3 and 4. Seem to have a little bit of a loss of control around turn 4, so lost a little speed through there, so on the back foot, and a little indecisiveness on the gearing, I think, is going to cost some precious time through turn 9. But back on the gas, looking for a little bit of time here at the end. And really finds it. Wow, it's almost a second gained just heading into turn 12. That's going to put him into the 106s and up into, well, just into the top 10 as everybody else settling into their times as well. But that's a nice, strong, competitive time to kick things off. We pop over to Tommy Boy as he just pretends that track limits don't exist and says, fuck everybody else, just cuts straight through the first chicane. No regard for track limits. Don't even know who you think you are. Anyway, back to the broadcast. So, Tommy Boy, number 16 car, coming around turn 5, regrouping for another lap. Gonna switch over to Patchy now, one of our 2 racers from across the pond, I believe. The other one being El Garito the Great. Patchy currently on an outlap, looking for a big push here in this next lap. Looking for the broadcast cam to kick things off for that rookie race still, but in the meantime, to keep you updated, T. Sydney leading the pack with a 105.8. Everybody else a little bit off the pace, trying to find some precious time as they're just getting their initial laps in as well. Patchy going a little bit wide, going to pull off to the side to let some racers get through. That's actually going to be Josh Fulton, who's on an outlap of zone, so not going to be something that we'll see too much improvement on. Check in now with the Inferno racer in the Goober Mobile. think this was part of the how many memes can you fit on one MX5 challenge? And the answer is a fair amount. As the Goober Racer heads through the second half of the chicane with a little bit of improvement on his time. Currently not seeing enough pace to take P17 from Big Dean Energy, but gets pretty close there. So saw a lot of improvement in that final corner. Something happened there, but if he can string things together through these first couple turns, he's definitely within striking range of Big Dean Energy and Sim GT3, the gentleman that he's been battling with for that podium position. Sam already said he was a little bit nervous about his odds today. So those guys, if they're listening, might be trying to take advantage of that shakeup in confidence. We'll let the Goober Racer keep things moving as Mogo joins the grid to make things a nice rounded off 20 racers here in the pro event. Woohoo Man on an off lap, we'll call it. Not really going to be their shining example, but we'll join them for this next one and see where things carry through. This livery was made for season 3, so that's just to tell you how long it's been that we've had since Woohoo, I think, was in a full season. Maybe. It might have been in season 5. Or is this season 5? Nope, this is season 6. Alright. I'm getting myself all confused here. It's been a lot of real rookie racing in my life. Woohoo Man struggling to find any time on this one until they come up to the final chicane. So it looks like they were able to outbrake themselves into it, but not able to get too strong of an acceleration out of it. I don't think they'll be able to catch up to Josh Fulton, currently sitting relatively comfortable. Oh, I stand corrected. So I think they had a positive delta that was with a cut, and they finally found a way to string all that together without it. And found themselves bouncing up to P10 with a 106.238. Whereas we were comparing them to Josh Fulton getting knocked down to P15 as I think Big D and Energy moves up the board with him. That's actually a huge lap for Big D and Energy, now sitting about 0.3 seconds away from his fellow classmates. So a nice strong start for himself. We'll check in now with the guys at the top of the grid. Articulate Fox not in a position to gain too much time just yet, whereas El Garrito following pretty closely behind, at least in the green currently. We see both racers are taking the turn fourth gear that we were watching Josh Fulton head through earlier. And looks like the rookie event is live, so just give me one moment to get that sorted. I'm going to add that over here. And do that. And for those of you who wanted to watch the rookie race, do that. And we'll do that. And almost done. All right. Gotta think speed, obviously. That's the key part. Is the man, the myth, the legend himself is a big help to what we do. Things looking pretty good. looks like speed's got a little bit different of a layout, so I know you guys aren't really going to be able to see the positions to the same extent, but do still have T Sydney up top with a 105.8, followed by Noah F with a 106.1. Gonna turn back off the auto cam here as we're getting closer and closer to the weather change and a little bit of an improvement in the overall track temps. Lando has a chance for a nice little slingshot here. I would have actually stayed behind Patchy a little longer and tried to use that slingshot on the back straight, but Lando, determined to get by, wants the cleanest chance they can get for this next one. Same goes for El Garito, who pulls a nice little dive here in qualifying. And typically that might be a penalty of sorts for a move so drastic, but since it's a 30-minute qual with 1-minute lap times, I think we can allow it. Lando taking advantage of that draft. El Garito pulling aside at the last second, so I actually really give Lando a nice little toe in. That should be enough of a pace to give him a chance to crack into these 105s. So Lando just needs to stay on the gas here. Broadcaster's curse immediately kicking in, but he's fighting against it strong, and that's what counts. Making his way through the S's with conviction as we hear that shift down into fourth gear. So I think that is actually the line through it as we hear all these guys taking that. My apologies to Josh Fulton. That is going to be the proper way to take that through. Just as awkward as it sounds, that's just how you got to hold it. Lando toying with his Delta here, gonna go wide out and narrowly avoids the tires, but will head into the pits as they know this is not going to be the clean lap they were hoping for. That pit limiter kicks on pretty strong, and they carry on through in search of the next one. Josh Fulton not on a clean lap for this one, or sorry, not on a hot lap for this one, but will head straight back out and around, looking to get Brett Anderson in front. Those guys not in the same class, but I know those guys have a little bit of off-track friendly rivalry in that they're friends, so naturally it's a rivalry. Feeling Mo and I completely understand. Looks like the broadcast may have momentarily paused or something. I'm gonna try and check that out again, see if maybe that's on my end or what happened. Yep, it was on my end. Got that back up. Looks like Brian number 7 ready, willing to do an interview. All right, why not? Where's the invite to speak? I just wanna invite to speak. There you go. All right, Ryan, how you doing, bud?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing?
Good, good. The number 2 Sonic Racer, but number 2, I feel like not the apt name anymore as you're sitting on top of the class even after the drops. 40 points up top, and then you got Seb Bellew and Bot Lando chasing you down, tied at 37. How do you feel heading into week 5 of the season?
You know, this track I'm actually kind of used to. Used to play it on Forza Motorsport 4, so I already got the layout of the track. I do have some bad news, however.
Do tell.
I could not find a way to escape from the track this time.
I think we're gonna chalk that up to a positive one, although if there is a way, I'm sure Josh Fulton will enlighten us later on.
Yeah,
as we've seen it before.
I was watching Base Cannon, the last race that we did in the GT3 series, and if you look, after this little live stream, go back and look at one of those things. I encourage viewers to look at the last live stream that we did in our GT3 class, and you'll see me in the background, basically escaping from the track. That was post-race.
Yeah, there's always a nice little spot or two, but we're glad to have you on it. Hopefully for all 45 today. So only 2 tenths separating yourself and your next closest competitor within the class. Obviously, with a 45-minute strategy or a 45-minute race, pit strategy does come into play. Do you have anything planned, or are you just one of the fellow go with the flow racers here?
Well, it's been kind of curious. One of the drivers said that, just don't brake at turn one. Just kind of let it coast and downshift. And I gave that a shot, and it seemed to be doing pretty darn well. Pretty darn good doing that. Found a couple tenths and everything. And, I think if I just be consistent this race, I might be able to make up another 1 or 2 places. But we'll see, and, we'll see how qualifying goes, too, if I can find some more tenths there. But, it's kind of a gravity, momentum-based track as usual with the MX5s, and, just kind of being consistent to, go up the hill with a little shortcut that people are taking, and just keep the momentum, and should be doing pretty good.
Very nice, very nice. And last question for you before I let you go, but we got 2 weeks left of the season. One of them going to be the short oval where bump drafting comes into play. This is a very tight battle between yourself, Sebellu, and Lando. So what happens in a race like that where you need to work together with someone? Do you find somebody else, or are you willing to work with these guys if it comes down to it?
Well, you can work up with another person to an extent, but come the last couple laps, you're gonna have to make a move eventually. Even if they've been helping you out. So if you're the car behind, you're gonna have to snag that position eventually. Give a little bit of risk. If you're the car in front, well, sometimes you may have to kind of, succeed a, drop the position, get back on your bumper, and see if you can make another pass later by using air draft. But only time will tell. Again, Martinsville, the oval, it's really a different track, and I don't really race on those very often, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh, very nice. Well, we're excited to see how things go for you today. Only 10 minutes remaining of qualifying. Sebellu nipping at your time on this lap, but loses it in the final sector. You stay safe for a little bit longer, but Brian, we'll let you get focused in on the battle in front. Appreciate you joining us.
All right, thanks, and yeah, really glad you could have me, and thanks for hosting. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the track.
We'll see you then. All right, so that was Brian, number 7. That was the leader of the amateur class, the man who's got a little bit of pressure going on, but not too much, as he sits currently about 2 tenths away from his closest competition. But 2 tenths is not a lot when it comes down to a race like this, especially with these long straightaways. If you can stick close together through the S's, you're going to be in a decent spot. You just want to be in the train heading into the chicane. And it's true because it rhymes. That is what they say. So I didn't notice the weather change. It was nice and smooth, but the weather did change. These guys do now have an 18-kilometer-an-hour headwind through Sector 1. Not too much, kind of a tailwind, but a bit of a cross tailwind through Sector 3, so to speak. I'm not really sure where they draw the sector lines, but that's where I am. 31 degrees on the track, so you think we're going to see some of these times start to drop. Already seeing Elias Flynn pick up the pace in the pro class. Nick Cruz right there with him with a 105.5. And El Garito with a 105.3. So the 105s have infected the top 10. Sebellu sitting P11 also has cracked in. Lando, Mogo, Woohoo. Honestly, everybody getting pretty close to it. only the Inferno and Sunday Driver left to get back down under 107, which both of them clearly show signs of doing. Be exciting to see the outcome of that one. 8 minutes remaining here in practice. Dancy passing through, not on a clean lap. Neither is Josh Fulton. Woohoo man on an out lap of sorts. Same with Fox and Mogul. Excuse me as I yawn there. There goes through Goober. I'm not seeing any green laps here on this one. 9 minute and 27 second from El Garrido, so I'm going to say that was a pit stop lap and 123 for Big Dean Energy. So everybody on various out laps or mistake laps, not really sure where things were lying on the previous one, but we'll hang on with Big Dean Energy, the man from up north, as we head into the last few minutes here. A little bit of traffic up front, and he's already up on his lap time, so hopefully that doesn't come in to haunt him in that final sector. This big right-hander coming up, turn 5, has been where we see a lot of people lose their time. We see Dean just carrying through it in 5th gear. Might be a little bit slower than some of those cars in front, but you got to think about the fuel usage here in a race like this. That might give him an extra lap and a little bit less fuel to have to put in the car, so a shorter pit stop could be a strategy worth adopting. Same goes for that lift and coast in turn 1 that we were hearing some of these guys talk about earlier. Big Dean Energy does find improvement as he goes alongside Woohoo Man just outside of the 105 club, now all the way to P13 as a few more racers find their way in. We're going to have certainly an interesting battle on the grid tonight as these guys not very separated. Big Dean Energy just outright cheating, admin abuse, unacceptable. We're going to change the broadcast because we do not condone such nature of beings. As we head to the other admin in, I believe, the livery named admin abuse, but I haven't seen him with any diabolical cuts of ill-fated natures anytime soon. Losing a little bit of time through turn 2. Looks like almost goes wide through turn 3, but avoids the nature of the cut and carries on a little off the pace, but in good faith towards the rest of the lap. So not going to be a killer one this time around. We'll need to regroup and try and find a little bit of time on the back end. We'll jump over now to Sunday Driver. Currently one of 2 racers trying to get into the 106s. Shaved off a lot of time since we last checked in. Now with a 107.3 as opposed to the 107.68, I want to say it was, that we saw earlier. This one posed to be a big one, already 3/10 up at the beginning of the lap, so that's where that time was to get into the 106s on the clean one. Now it comes time to just holding their line. They'll have a little bit of pressure you can hear from behind them. They've got the Inferno, though, as a little bit of a cushion. The Inferno also looking to get into those 106s, though, so really going to be looking for more of a tow than being any sort of help. Sunday Driver needs to find about a 10th right now to get into that 106 club. And I know they're desperately looking to get in. A strong exit here can be the difference, as they lost a ton of time on their best lap. It seems confusing because that kind of looked pretty good, or at least I thought it did, as they now find themselves 3/10 back, not improving on the lap. I'm not quite sure where they lost that one, because that one looked pretty good from the start. But we'll let them head on through as Articulate Fox crashes into the wall. The Inferno a little bit loose on the brakes, trying to avoid any sort of contact. Tommy Boy going for Tokyo Drift style. Everybody just struggling on this lap as Nick Cruz takes it a little bit wide into turn 3 and 4, but regains the grip and heads back through the S's into turn 5 with some conviction. Moving along now with some speed. We'll look over at the rookie event where we've got Noah F up front with a 105.7, T. Sydney with a 105.89, and Ricky Richmond with a 105.9. So those guys all fared to do pretty well in today's event, even over here in the the pro side of things. So rookie is what a name for those guys. Nick Cruz obviously not going to be able to get a clean one on that one. We'll take a look now to see who's coming around the board. That's going to be Sam S on an outlap, coming through with some pretty serious pace though. So you can tell they're looking for a clean one as we head into the final few minutes. Remember, it's only going to get a little bit hotter and a little bit windier, as we should see that time of day cycle through relatively quickly now. So we're already starting to try and go from dawn to dusk where we can. Sam S heading through again with some pace here in through turn 9. Only a little bit up on their time, but only needs to be about a 10th up overall. Finds a lot of speed into the entrance, but usually that means a slow exit, which we are seeing hold true for Sam here. Unfortunately, losing that 2/10 they had for a minute, and they'll only have maybe 2 more chances at it. Hopefully they've fueled up for it, because they've at least given themselves a shot at 2 more goes. We do see Sunday drivers cracked into the 107s. The Inferno currently sitting in the pits. I'm not sure if they'll head out. It doesn't look like it, so they're going to sit with that 107 time. But we'll see what the day brings, as a lot of our racers head out for their final laps. Sam S not going to be on a hot lap this time around. We see Dancy going to look for the opportunity, if they can find it, in that 47 racer, as they are only a single hundredth away from Brian number 7. They're not in the same event, but I know that they'll probably want to take that spot if they can get a little bit closer in the final grid space. So it looks like no improvements there from either one, as everybody heads into their final moments of qualifying session. Dancy going to be our final racer around with a clean qualifying lap, so we'll try and stay tuned with them just a little bit and see what they can pull out. Already losing about a second on their delta, so we're going to kind of jump over to the other one, El Garito the Great here. By the other one, sorry, I meant the auto cam. Forgot what it was called. Jumps now over to set value, and this thing is just jumping around to racer, as everybody is at least starting some laps strong here in the overtime. I don't know who's going to get opportunities to finish. These guys are familiar with the risk of trying to get one last one in. You lose that extra second to get your mentality ready, get zoned in for the race, and start setting up your pit stop and strategies. But if you can pull it off, you do get one final attempt at an empty track and a nice clean lap with grip at the max, the sun at its best, everything kind of where you would want it for a nice clean lap. So that's where timing that final lap really comes into play, but it also really takes on a lot of risk, so you want to have at least a little something in the bag, which most of these racers thankfully do. And it looks like everybody has been sent back to pits as they reach their final waiting moments of the evening. A few more guys finishing up laps in the rookie event, as you can see in the bottom corner there. That's going to be Max Yang finishing things off for everybody. Thorn Maddox as well coming across, as they will all settle in to start their race shortly as well. It's always a little bit more convenient when those guys start first. That way we can try and catch an extra moment, at least the opening lap if we can of theirs, but that's okay. Things happen. Last race, Pax, you make it worth it. Yeah, buddy. That is right. It is the last race for Patchy before their work schedule changes, so he's unfortunately not going to be with us in the MX5 series once that work schedule kicks in. So hoping to put up some final points, shake up the grid a little bit here in his final appearance. If we know anything about Patchy, it's that he certainly can. Get that back into view as we have locked on to Parmesan here. The number 48 car sitting up front. You can see the pit boxes go around the grid. We've got Parmesan, El Garito, Articulate, Fox, Flynn, Dancy, Nick Cruz, Botlando, Rev174, Brian number 7, Tommy Boy, Big D Energy, Mogo, Josh Fulton, Seb Bellew, Woohoo Man, Patchy, Brett Anderson, Sunday Driver, and the Inferno, all locked and loaded for a big one here. We've got Parmesan sitting up front. I'm glad that Brett was able to make it in for a race today. Always exciting to see him on the grid. I know he's had difficulty with his schedule as well, but always nice when we can get some guys in. We've got the lights on, and away we go. 45 minutes about to be underway. We'll see how things fare, as it looks like someone is leaving the pits out front. And I think that's going to be Sam, but Sam's going to wait and join at the beginning of the grid. Botlando has a little bit of a crash, I want to say, with Brian number 7, and they find themselves coming up the rear as we see a couple of guys getting close together and comfy to turn 3 and 4, but not enough to cause any major concern. We're going to jump up over to the front of the grid here, where Articulate Fox hanging on to the bumper of El Garito the Great, and everybody seems to make it through that relatively cleanly. So a little bit of chaos there in the beginning of turn 1, but everybody manages to stick close together. Nothing that is too concerning here at the beginning of our 45-minute race. We see everybody kind of making it through the S's pretty cleanly, all the way down to Botlando. Brian number 7 and Sam S have some space to make it through themselves. Brett Anderson able to go wide on Mogo and carry through with some speed. Mogo seems to have had a little bit of a slower first lap, losing quite a few positions here off the get-go. We'll see if they're able to make things back up. Botlando carries a lot of speed and will take it through past the Inferno here, and goes into turn 3 with a little bit of an advantage. We'll see now, as this group seems to be the closest. Brett Anderson going for another passing opportunity, this time on Mogo up in front. Mogo not looking to give it up easily, though. Going to try and cut up the inside as Brett takes it a little bit wide. But Lando and Mogo won't work together despite being in separate classes. But Lando knows he's got a big way to climb, and he's hoping to do so. El Garito and Articulate Fox battling things out here for P2. El Garito carries a little bit more speed through the downhill portion of turn 12. So that's going to give him an advantage, but only for a moment, not enough to even call it breathing room. We're going to jump back with that main pack we've been checking out in the battle for P13. But Lando starting to move away a little bit. Mogo getting eaten alive by the traffic. Woohoo Man and Josh Fulton, a little bit of contact there. Both racers off to the side. Seems like Fulton finding himself with a little bit of bad luck this week again. Tommy Boy going off the track. Brett Anderson getting inspired to go with him as we see Nick Cruz has a little bit of a run-in with Dancy. Finds himself a little bit further back in the grid. So not even 5 minutes in, and the mistakes are starting to come. So all these guys in the back are going to get advantages here and there. They just have to be patient. Speaking of patience, Sunday Driver not looking for the drafting opportunity. Going to try and see if he can outbrake Mogo here into turn 10. Not able to pull things off into the first part of the chicane, but does look like he's going to have a better exit after running with the grass from Mogo up in front. A little bit further on the grid, looks like Tommy Boy has a run-in with the tires. That's going to be a huge blow with the barrier. You can hear Patchy taking advantage of that and ripping past the number 16 car. Those guys are not in the same class, so won't come to an advantage just yet, but we'll see how that battle fares things out. The Inferno, I think, had a little bit of a slip up through turn 1, didn't carry the pace of Brian number 7 or Sam S in front. So we'll be on the back foot trying to catch up. We are trying to keep our eye on some of these closer battles, but it seems like the closest battle is actually going to be for P2. Articulate Fox and El Garito battling things out. We've seen this before week after week. I'm trying not to give these guys the entire broadcast again, but man, they are evenly matched trying to hunt down Parmesan up ahead. That last lap separated by only 2/10. Not a lot of wiggle room for error between either of them. We do see Dance and Seb Bellew going for a little bit of a side-by-side action into turn 1. Someone's going to have to make a decision. And unfortunately, Dance goes a little bit wide, manages to swing a recovery, but that causes a little bit of hesitation for Elias Flynn. Elias still manages to get the pass off, but doesn't carry quite as much speed, and will need to put the moves back on to try and catch up to Seb Bellew in front. Gonna jump from the perspective of Bot Lando here to see if Bot Lando can try and get back into this 4-man battle. Good spot to be in as Seb Bellew is up in front, and that is his closest competition at the moment. Those two do need to be ahead of Brian number 7, but whoever comes out in front of this battle, I think, is going to take the lead for the MX5 standings. A little Tokyo Drift moment is not going to help the case of Von Lando trying to chase down Seb, but Dance returns the favor. And that will at least give Lando a chance to try and catch him down. Elias Flynn going to have a moment to think about taking a move here, but doesn't go for the pass just yet. I'm not sure if they're lining something up or where they want to go. Elias doing a great job of climbing up the ranks after some tight chaos through Sector 1. Elias definitely has the better acceleration heading into the back straight here. It's going to give him a nice clean attempt at the Canadian number 22 car of Seb Bellew. With a little yellow on yellow violence as Elias Flynn able to take the late break move. A little bit of a stutter there. We apologize, but Elias carries through with some speed. So much speed that we were barely able to capture it apparently. Lando still looking for that opportunity on Dancy. Might see it here into turn one. Although it isn't really a braking opportunity, it is just a lift and coast, so we'll see if they can make something happen. They actually end up letting off just a little bit as they don't want to head into the side-by-side action at this time. And I really can't say that I blame them. Fulton and Woohoo Man still staying within a second of each other, so not giving up on that fight either. As we see a couple of things settling in around the grid. So let's take it from the top here, as we've got a few things going on that we don't want to miss. Parmesan leading the pack through turn 11 with quite a little bit of a gap between himself and this battle for P2 between Articulate Fox and El Garito. We do see Bontlando and Dancy might be looking for a little bit of switchback action, as it seems Bontlando went in late on the brakes and momentarily had the position, but Dance did not give up and held through the back half of the chicane, reclaiming P8. So still fighting pretty tightly there. Big Dean Energy carries a little bit more speed up the hill of turn one into 3-4. And we'll take P4 away from Rev 174. That's going to be very, very big, as Sam S is in P13. So Dean doesn't need to get this far ahead, but every position helps when it comes to this sort of a thing. Sunday Driver seems to have taken a turn a little bit wide, drops down the rankings to P12. Will find themselves in danger of the clutches of the Harbor Freight Car 63 Sam S from behind. Lando looking for a move on Dancy here. This is going to be the chance he was looking for. Tried it once before, and a little bit of rubbing is racing as both cars able to carry on through into the downhill. But Lando carries things a little bit wider, and that'll actually give Dance the advantage, and he's able to hold on to the position one more time. Articulate Fox, it seems, might have had a little bit of a spin, as he is now 1.5 seconds away from El Garito in front. We're going to jump back over to Dancy and Bontlando as those guys side by side. Bontlando able to make a little bit of a move here into turn one, tries it through 3-4, but Dan's able to hang on to the inside and power back through, hanging on just a little bit longer. All this fighting is starting to cost these guys just a little bit. I want to go look at some of the other stuff going on the grid. We see Woohoo Man, a little bit of a crash to the environment, falls down to P19. Might get passed by Patchy here, does get passed by Patchy, according to the live timing. So on the back foot, we'll need to start making some moves. Brian number 7 and Brett Anderson having a little battle of their own behind us here, but Brian number 7 late on the brakes, able to hang out in front, but only for a moment as Brett Anderson lines themselves up for the exit. And we'll now get a little bit of breathing room. Breathing room is not a luxury that Rev 174 has, though, as Elias Flynn currently trying to barrel down, working his way through the grid slowly to defend his position. Doesn't have anyone else in his class left in front of him, as Rev 174 currently just looking to hold off Dancy. I want to say, not even actually. Dancy is going to be who Elias is looking to hold off. So Rev in a relatively comfortable spot. Oh no, I'd say I'm mistaken. Rev's looking to hold off Big Dean Energy and Seb Bellew. So you can see Dean just behind Elias, catching Elias's toe into turn one. So not actually a luxury that Rev can afford to give up. I stand mistaken. That Scrub Daddy Motorsport is going to be racing for its life here. 33 minutes remaining, so it's got a long time to fight. And we do still have a pit stop strategy on the line. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that comes into play in the later parts of the race. Rev going very wide through turn one, does manage to save it, so won't lose his race, but does lose a position to Big Gene Energy. Not going to be a crucial one, but Seb Bellew now nipping at his heels. That is where things start to hurt. Hopefully he can make something happen. Speaking of that amateur class battle, Brian number 7 looking for a way towards Brett Anderson in front. See a little bit of wiggling. I'm not sure exactly what we just caught into, but a little bit of distance between himself and Lando in front now. Or sorry, Brett Anderson in front. Tommy Boy sees Mogo behind him, looking for the opportunity to pass the Inferno, put a little bit of a meat shield between himself and his fellow classmate. Goes a little late on the brakes to cut the inside away from the Goober Racer and manages to hold the position. Mogo carries through that turn 11 with a little bit more speed, though, and will pass the Goober relatively quickly. So Tommy not out of the woods, as Mogo just outside of that drafting range, but close enough to make a difference this lap. We'll see if he's able to, as Patchy and Woohoo Man seem to be having a little bit of a battle amongst themselves, as Jesus, the leader, starts to catch up. So we're going to jump over to that for just a moment, see how this passing opportunity goes for that lead car, as the two of them are relatively close together. Of course, as we do that, Rev 174 looking for a way to take a position back from Elias Flynn. So somewhere along the lines, they did lose that one. Woohoo Man goes wide, giving Patchy a little bit of an opportunity. These guys do have a problem, though, as that is going to be Parmesan trying to get by. Woohoo Man looking to hang with him as much as he can, but knows that he's got to give him space. Ooh, as he sends things a little bit wide. Starting to slow that car. It's not really going to be enough to help anybody at this time, though. There's a lot of distance between Parmesan and El Garito. He's got enough time for a quick battle or two, but ultimately he's going to take away that inside lane from Woohoo Man and start to walk back away. A fun little battle between the two of them. Did leave Patchy a nice little opportunity to try and get by that number 43 car, so we'll stick with him for just a moment, see if he can make something happen there. I do see Dancy looking to nip at the heels of Seb Bellew, same with Elias Flynn and Big Dean Energy. But we wanted to hang on to see if Patchy can make a move, and he does. We'll jump over now to Elias Flynn, looking to line things up into turn 1 as they head into lap 14. We are nearing the 30-minute marker. I think we're still about another 10-15 minutes away from some pit stops, so these guys do still need to be a little bit patient. A little bit of drafting can go a long way, as again, having just one extra lap of fuel in the tank without costing yourself too much time can be a great strategy in the long run. Elias Flynn currently only looking to hold off, I want to say Dancy, but I don't see them on the board. We actually see a few guys who've gone in for the pits at the moment, so I might stand corrected, or we've got guys going for some alternate strategies. As we see Seb Bellew and the Inferno have already gone in, so maybe they figure they'll just go in for a top off and bite the bullet on a longer pit and stay out till the end. So we'll see how that comes to play. Elias Flynn now toying with Big Dean Energy a little bit, giving Rev 174 another opportunity to get close. He does struggle with this turn 1, but manages to carry it clean when it counts, keeps himself in the hunt in this battle for P4. And these guys still a little bit out of the range of that podium fight for now. Still a lot of race left. Anything can happen, but things are looking pretty good for those top 3. Just to update for a moment, over in the rookie class, we do have T-Sid currently sitting in front, about 8.5 seconds away from Ricky Richmond, who's trying to hold off Noah F. and Rick Nicholson. Then they've got a little bit of a gap between themselves and Thorne Mannix, who's working on a gap between Justin and Max Yang. A little bit of a gap there as well to Marcus Gilbertson, then down to Potatoes for Life. who seems to be fighting possibly relatively head-to-head with Oreg, if I'm looking correctly. It's a little bit tricky to see where that one's at. I think Oreg might actually be down about a lap. Not entirely positive. Oh, well, you can see Oreg is actually in P8, apparently, trying to fend off Marcus Gilbertson, and Potatoes for Life is 14, 15 seconds behind them. So I'm not sure why my live time is messed up there, but it is. While we were doing all that, you can see still a few more guys going in for pit opportunities in this race. Going with different strats. Big Dean Energy having a little bit of a mistake, and that's what we've been talking about in these close battles. A single mistake will cost you. That's going to be Rev 174, one of the first lead cars to head off into the pits. So we'll see if that starts any sort of a chain reaction. Tommy Boy, number 16, going to be staying out to chase down Sam in the Harbor Freight Racer. Those guys currently sitting P8 and P9, but again, it's getting a little difficult to tell with these differences in pit strategy. I think these guys were saying it might actually be a 2-stop altogether, so I could be wrong. This could be where we see that first wave, and the second one comes with only a few laps to go, but even then, that extra means that staying out as late as you can is going to be key. Speaking of key, I see Nick Cruz looking for a key pass on Rev 174 in front. Rev has currently pit and Nick has not, so it's definitely important for Nick to get back out in front, as you don't want to be lapped before your pit opportunity comes through. But at the same time, you definitely don't want to be burning any extra fuel trying to fight if you're this close to your stop. But fight away Nick will with a major dive heading into the first part of the chicane, going to take away all acceleration into the second part, which will give Rev another chance to stay out in front. We see a few more racers heading into the pits as we'll swing by with Nick Cruz. You can see Mogo currently in the pits there, as well as Tommy Boy and Brett Anderson. Those guys now trying to fight through. We have Dan's right behind these guys. He has pit, so he's going to be moving up the board as the guys in front start to head in. El Garito the Great goes in for his pit stop as Parmesan was able to pit and comes back out in front. El Garito looks like stayed out for one extra lap to Articulate Fox. So let's see how that strategy ended up playing off, as Fox is going to be coming around in just a moment or two here. El Garito not going to have the acceleration, but it is a long straightaway. I'm sure he is eager to get on the move, and the move he is. And that's quite a good bit of time there. El Garito comes out in front about 3 seconds ahead of Fox, so did manage to gain, I want to say 1 second, maybe 1.2 seconds to these guys. So that's actually a very big advantage from staying out that he was able to see. I'm not sure if any of our other racers are bold enough to still be out on the grid. Actually, Elias Flynn and Big Dean Energy both are some of our last few racers to stay out without a pit. We'll see if they go in here. Elias does not. Does Big Dean Energy? Dino does. So Elias gonna be our last man standing. I think he's gonna be trying to go for the one-stop strategy altogether. And that's going to be where some of that fuel saving strategy comes into play. You can see he's hanging on in 5th gear, not dropping down to 4th. Really trying to save a little bit here, but look at the amount of time he's losing. Is he going to make all that up with just by staying out? Definitely using gravity to his advantage, but we'll have to see where this spits him out on the grid. Starting to see things settle out as far as the order. Unfortunately, Apache does disconnect. Not feeling Road Atlanta, so the farewell tour does end here. And we are sorry to see you go, bud. Hopefully that work schedule shifts up one more time and we'll see you. But Elias Flynn does manage to make it all the way around and make it into the pits. Now this is going to be the moment that I was curious about. Where do they come out? So currently sitting in high fifth gear, just coasting on that pit limiter. We'll see how the pit strategy goes. They stop just enough in their box for the crew to get to work. As Rev 174 will lead the pack all the way around to try and catch up to Elias here. How close can these guys get? You can see them at the end of the straightaway now, starting to catch up a little bit on the grid here. Everybody has pit over in the rookie race. Everybody has pit here in the pro race, and Elias comes out with a 5-second gap to the grid behind. So a major strategy advantage there for Elias. And unfortunately, Big Dean Energy, who we saw competing with Elias going for that earlier strat, not able to make advantage of it, having a little bit of a spin there, and will now find themselves in a little bit of a battle with the number 16 car of Tommy Boy behind. Thankfully for them, they built up a little bit of a cushion, but Sam is not that far away. If you look at this grid, these cars are actually pretty close together overall, and it's a very short track, so one mistake is all it takes, as we've seen on a few different occasions tonight. Parmesan 16.4 seconds up on the grid. That is a strong advantage to the pack. El Gorrito and Articulate Fox in P2 and 3 respectively. Fox with a pretty large hill to climb now, with a 5-second gap to P2. We'll see all of these late cars. Is it enough of a strategy? Elias Flynn only 14 seconds away from the cars up front, so if they fuel save enough and are able to keep a pace with that sort of a gap, it might be what they're looking for. The Inferno getting blue flag now by Parmesan, trying to make their way through as they hold off, or attempt to hold off, Brian number 7 behind. We're going to jump up to Dancy in the number 47 Logitech Racer, trying to find a way through Rev 174. We've seen these two get close a few times on the live diamonds. Dan's goes for a move to take the inside. That's going to give Rev a little bit of better acceleration out of the chicane though, and he'll be able to stay close on the heel, which means Dance has a little bit of defending to do before the position will be completely theirs. Rev going to try and pull alongside and take away that inside lane, make things a little bit awkward for Dance if they can. And it works. Dance finds themselves going into the grass, narrowly avoiding that tire barrier, gets back onto the grass, and comes to a hard stop in what is essentially like quicksand there, just off of the curb. Gets back on. That is a big blow to the race there, unfortunately. Cost him about 12 seconds off of that unfortunate spin off there. So 19 minutes remaining. They got a little bit of a ways to climb back up to where they were. But, you know, you can see anything can happen pretty quickly. As it happened to them, it can happen to anybody else. The Inferno in the Goober Racer lost a position to the Sonic Racer in front, and I know they'll be looking for a way to get back up if they can. They're just within drafting range, so they'll at least be able to stay close on this straightaway, but not close enough to make any sort of a move, so we'll hang out for just a minute. Speaking of close enough to make a move, I see Sam, Sunday Driver, and Parmesan all pretty close together here. It's Parmesan looking for a way by. Sam pulls aside to let him through. Sunday Driver kind of using Parmesan as a blue flag battering ram. not fully letting Parmesan find a good angle through. Parmesan losing a little bit of time already on the lap to that number 22 car, but eventually manages to work their way by. Sam and Mogo gonna have to try and do the same thing in a little bit of a precarious spot. Sunday driver not wanting to give up a position easily, as we've seen with even the lead car. This gives Mogo an opportunity to pull alongside Sam. So these guys are going to have to make some sort of a decision. So not everywhere can be defended at once, as we see contact between the Harbor Freight car and the 22 racer causes a little bit of chaos there for Brian number 7 as well. As Mogo, the only one really managing to survive, is the Inferno Sunday driver, and Brian number 7 find themselves in a little bit of a battle. Brian number 7's found themselves in a little bit of misfortune here and there, unfortunately, throughout the race. We've checked in on it and seen it ourselves. Those pit strategies seems to have really separated things over in the rookie race. Not too much head-to-head going on at this stage with 20 minutes remaining in their race, so quite a bit of time left for those guys to wrap things up. Actually, I feel like my live timings for them might be off. No, the live timings board actually seems to be 5 minutes behind. That's why I'm not seeing the overall position. So the stream is actually faster than my live timing board. That's pretty funny. I'll have to just keep an eye on the stream. So those guys only about a minute behind us. That makes a little bit more sense, as Brian number 7 and the Inferno still locked in a little bit of a head-to-head battle. I'm going to jump over now to Big Dean Energy, though, who's been trying to find a way to get back up front. He was in a battle for P4 for quite a while. 15 minutes remaining. Still has an opportunity to do so. But over in the rookie end of things, just to give you a rundown, we do have T-Sid sitting up front with quite a little bit of a lead. He's got about 8.5 seconds to Ricky Richmond behind, who's got about 2 seconds to Noah F from that. Actually 17 seconds to Noah F from there. Got Rick Nicholson, 13 seconds behind him. 10 seconds behind him is Max Yang. 3.7 seconds behind him is Justin. So those guys still getting a little bit close. Potatoes for Life currently 9 seconds behind that, and Orig 34 seconds behind that. So very, very close races all around. Dance pulls into the pits with 14 minutes remaining. Seems like they're going to be going, I think, for some early pit strategy. I think that we're going to see the same thing from a couple of these other guys. As we jump now to Nick Cruz, who is behind Josh Fulton. I think these guys are trying to go on 2 shorter pit stops. We'll see how that strategy goes for them. As this is where things get interesting, when 2 stops come into play and fuel strategy is just shy of an option. It really comes down to how well practiced you are in the track. Nick Cruz going to look for the inside lane, managed to do so without hitting the quicksand, and takes the position away from P17 from Josh Fulton. Brett Anderson looking to catch up to Dancy in front. Dancy on an out lap, so this will be Brett's opportunity to get back up in front before the pit. Again, you don't want to get the guy, you don't want to be behind somebody who's already pit if you can avoid it. You want to try and get that back if you can. Parmesan, the man ahead, pulling in for his pit stop. As we see El Garito going out long, same with Articulate Fox, it seems. Yep, as both racers will continue on with their path. Brett Anderson, a little bit of a crasher, as you see Tommy Boy, Articulate Fox, and Parmesan all racing pretty strong together. Parmesan going to be looking for a way to pass Articulate Fox before they go into the pits if he can. going to help send a little bit of a message that he's here to catch up from the back if he can with the remaining time left in the season. And this will be a big race to do so in. It is double points as it's only 13 minutes left in this 45-minute extravaganza, we'll call it. Ricky Richmond now only 5 seconds away from T. Sidney in front. Nick F. only 3 seconds away from him, so you can see things start to level out. Sam S. has a little bit of misfortune, falls behind Tommy Boy in the standings. I think that's going to be a run-in with the tires, if I'm seeing that correctly. As Parmesan getting closer and closer to Articulate Fox, only one car between them, but that car takes a little bit of a detour, and we've seen how this ends before. Can he get control before the corner? He cannot, as he sends it into the runoff, giving himself a little bit of a distance between them and giving Sam a nice opportunity to try and catch up to P12 in front. I know this is a different kind of a battle that we have going on, as Fox will likely still need to pit, but Fox making it interesting. We'll see if Parmesan can get that position. Fox just needs to stay out front a little bit longer to make sure that they don't get past. If I'm Fox, I'm pulling into the pits right here on this lap, telling Parmesan to get out of my way, but he doesn't want to. He wants to stay out and fight. Maybe he can use a little bit of a tow or figure out where to pick up those final few tenths and get the upper hand on El Garito. He knows that Ash is going to stay out long, so he's probably just trying to wait him out. But battling with Parmesan isn't going to help their case too much. We see someone going out real wide there. We're going to let these guys go for a minute as we see quite the interesting rejoin. That's going to be from Woohoo Man. Goes out wide for a moment. I think that's just to let Sam get by. Doesn't want to interfere with the battle between the two of them. Parmesan still looking for that passing opportunity on Articulate Fox in front. Fox now has dropped to 8 seconds behind El Garito in the battle for, on paper, P1, but overall P2. As again, both racers do need to pit. Unless El Garito pulls off the long haul, but I think Elias is going to be our underdog for that one. As Elias currently finds themselves only 10 laps in on their current fuel, so I like their odds. I don't know, it's gonna be tricky. I don't know how many laps they ended up doing. Where are we at? So only 10 laps. So they did 20 laps, so in theory they can do 10 more. It's gonna be very, very close, uncomfortably so, but we'll see how that goes for them. Excited to see how that goes for them. It's Parmesan powering through now. Through turn 5. Did get the pass on Articulate Fox after Fox has a little bit of a spin. Falls behind Tommy Boy, just in the physical order of cars on the grid. It provides a little bit of motivation for these guys at the back here. I mean, if I'm in their shoes at the very least, that's, I want to say, Rev, Sam, and, or sorry, Rev, Seb, Sam, and Woohoo Man all together. Woohoo Man going to go into the pits there, so we'll latch on with Sam GT3, El Garito, and Fox pitting together. We'll see who comes out on top. Only 9 minutes remaining, so this will be a good sense of the gap between them. El Garito already out of the pits. That is very big for them, as Elias Flynn comes around only 5 seconds away from El Garito, so making up some good time, but will need to make up 4 seconds if they want to get P2 without a pit stop, and needs to put on a big gap between themselves and Articulate Fox, because only 7.5 seconds currently separate them, and that is not enough time to sneak in a single pit stop, or sneak in an extra pit stop. So Elias in a tricky position. They got to push, but not too hard because they can't burn fuel, but they can't let up or they're going to lose that podium spot that they've worked pretty hard to attain. So 8 minutes left to see how that plays out for them. Tommy Boy is going to pass by Mogo here. Does seem that Tommy Boy has already done their pit, so that's going to be a true position there. Same goes for Seb Bellew and Mogo, although Seb, it seems, has a little bit of a spin. I'm not sure if he was trying to avoid Mogo or if what happened there coming up into turn one. Seb now finds himself with a pretty big gap coming, or group coming up behind him. Josh Fulton, who is narrowly holding off Elias Flynn from the blue flag opportunity. Not defending, just carrying the pace as we get closer and closer to sunset. Start to see actual color of some of these cars. As Elias looking for a way in, sees the nose opportunity, decides to let Josh take the late break, and Fulton ends up not being able to hang on. But that's okay, as he was being lapped there. This is the real battle between himself and Brian number 7. Brian number 7, I don't believe has pit yet. Let me check into their situation. Sorry, Brian number 7 has pit, whereas Fulton has not. With the amount of laps that Josh has done, it does seem like Josh is going to need to do one more pit stop, but we'll see what he's got in the bag as he's trying to hold off number 2 Sonic Racer at the moment. I'm taking a look around the grid, but this does seem to be where all the action is. We'll jump over to Woohoo Man, currently 1.1 laps away from Brett Anderson, so going to be a tricky one with 6 minutes remaining to come back from, barring some sort of penalty situation or a major collision for Brett Anderson up in front, which is certainly possible. Big Dean Energy currently finds themselves in a little bit of no man land, so probably hoping that Woohoo will slow down a little bit, just give him a little bit of something to do with only 6 minutes remaining. It is his current benchmark to try and catch up to, so at least he's got something to watch out for. Do you see Josh Fulton and Brian number 7, though, having a little bit of a battle? It'll be a shootout down the straightaway as Josh Fulton tries to hold him off for one more lap. Not able to do so into turn 1. And judging by the way we're going through the hill here, I think we've hit fuel saving for that number 23 car, so we'll have to see how that strategy plays off. Articulate Fox slowly chipping away at the gap to Elias Flynn in front as Flynn falls a little bit further away from El Garito. So at this current pace, doesn't seem like P2 is going to be in the cards. Can this fuel saving strategy hold or pay off and give Elias the overall P3? Not in the same class as Articulate Fox, so won't be the end all be all, but this would be huge for Elias, just as far as the overall confidence on the grid goes. That is a strong performance and a strong performer to beat if you can stay out in front of Fox, which seems to be holding the pace to do. Taking a look at some of these last few guys going in for their pits. We'll check in with Sam as they're heading into their box now, parking outside that Harbor Freight toolbox with style. As you see, they fall a little bit of a ways down the grid. Next to see Brett Anderson coming by as well. I'm not sure if maybe in the back of the grid, trying to take a peek. There are a few other people who haven't pit yet, so I'm thinking maybe if some of those guys end up going in, we'll see some other shakeups in the standings. Josh Fulton, I think, had a little bit of a spin out as we get deeper and deeper into the dusk hours. The track's starting to get lit up as the lights come on. And I think we saw Rev 174 with a little bit of a spin, a crash with the environment outside of turn 12. I'm going to say I hear grass from Tommy Boy. Seems to like that wide line through turn 1, as we've seen him do it a few times before. But this time, does not take the cut through on the chicane. So proud of him there. We'll jump over to an actual battle happening on at the moment, though. Big Dean Energy and Bound Lando have been doing a little side-by-side action. We haven't been doing the best job of covering it. As, of course, we turn to the action, and Bound Lando finds his way through with a little bit of a gap between himself and the cars up front. Taking a peek at some of the other fights on the track. In the rookie side of things, right now, we've got a close battle going on between Sydney, only 2 seconds away from Nick F., who seems to be very tight in front of Ricky Richmond. So those guys very close together. You can see right there, Thorn Mannix and Max Yang very close together. Rick Nicholson only 1.5 seconds between them. And Orig and Potatoes for Life, it seems, or sorry, Orig and Justin, I think, are the ones battling pretty close together. So tight fights happening all around the rookie side there. Same goes for these guys here in the pro event. We see Sam head into the pits. We'll see where that spits them out, as the Inferno will go by Brett Anderson within a second here, looking for their opportunity at a move. As we see Elias Flynn able to keep the pace now up to 8 seconds away from Articulate Fox. They've hit the point where they can take some pretty decent, large fuel-saving laps here. By the looks of things, they might need to. 2 minutes remaining. It's now or never for them. They're 18 laps into the stint. Big Dean Energy currently sitting in P6 has the same situation going on. 9 seconds separating them and the man behind. They currently are just looking to stay in front of the Inferno, I believe. So they do have the cushion of pinning if they need to. So Dino not as pressured. Brett does have a fantastic livery. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Cam is the one who decided that one. Judging by the time, these guys are going to have one more lap after this one. So Brett doesn't need to make his move right now, but he does need to start to think about it, at least try and line things up. Mogo only a second away from Tommy Boy in front, will possibly get an opportunity. Tommy Boy trying to find 2 seconds to rev, might try and get an opportunity in himself. Ooh, Brett Anderson looking for it on turn 3. Unfortunately, both racers end up suffering a bit of a spin. Rev able to get straight and get moving before the pack comes by. Brett Anderson, on the other hand, not able to say the same. That's going to be Josh Fulton able to go by, and Sunday Driver. And Brett will call his race there. An unfortunate way for that one to end. Mogo in his last lap, now within a second to Tommy Boy in front, is going to need to pull out all the stops if he can. Got a little bit of pressure as El Gorito the Great breathing down his neck. We do see Elias is out on the lap, so they are going to be trying to make it around. We'll see how successful this goes. Got full commitment now on the one stops from Big Dean Energy and Elias. I don't see anybody else who was crazy enough to go for it. Power to those guys. As we head into some of the final corners of the lap, Parmesan has crossed the line, your leader with one hell of a lead. As Big Dean Energy completes the one stop, that shows a pretty good sign for Elias Flynn here. Oh, as we see Josh Fulton out of fuel. Did Josh Fulton go for the one stop? Josh did go for the one stop. So Josh going for the one stop. Does have enough fuel to at least finish the race. Just kind of rolls through there. Oop, and I don't want to miss this last battle here between Sam and the Inferno. These guys going a little bit side to side into the chicanes, but the Inferno pulls out ahead. They will be the last one to cross the line as far as a battle goes. Lando comes across to lock in P5 and Sunday Driver to round off our grid, wrapping up in a solid P16. So in the end of things, looks like only 5 cars on the lead lap, also known as only 4 racers avoid being lapped by Jesus. But the one stop proves to be the strategy as Elias takes away P3 with a tremendous one. Very great with the patience and the consistency throughout. That co-strategy seemed to be the move, and well, we saw the results here on the grid. Certainly something that was exciting to watch. Over in the rookie end of things, just to give you guys a little bit of a taste. Let's see if we can switch that over quickly. Which one is it doing? Wrong one here. Hang on. Let's do that and that. So there you go. You guys can see it a little bit better now. But basically, T. Sydney came out up top. We got Ricky Richmond, followed by Noah F., Thorne Mannix, Mac Yang, Rick Nicholson, Justin, Potatoes for Life, Oryeg. Honorable mentions go out to Marcus Gilbertson, Elvis, and King B. Per usual, we appreciate everybody watching. I know that's driving you guys nuts. We're not actually loading nothing, don't worry. But we'll see you guys for the next one.